Okay, so let me just start off this video by apologizing for not uploading over the past month. I just had some personal things going on. It wasn't really D2 related, but go figure, once I actually do want to return to D2, something astronomically horrible happens. For those of you who don't already know what I'm talking about, here's the tweet from the CEO of Bungie himself, Pete Parkinsons. So he said, "Today is a sad day at Bungie as we say goodbye to colleagues who have all made a significant impact on our studio. What these exceptional individuals have contributed to our games and Bungie culture has been enormous and will continue to be a part of Bungie for a long time." Now, he's obviously referring to the layoffs of several hundred Bungie employees, but when you take a deeper look at the situation, you quickly realize just how fucked up everything is. Because the reason that these people were let go is Bungie's revenue was lower than expected for the year, and their pre-orders for Final Shape were also, to nobody's surprise that's played Destiny in the past year or two, lower than expected. And to anyone on the outside of this situation looking in, it's pretty easy to place the blame on these developers and say, well, they weren't producing at the level they were supposed to, so they got let go. That's just how business works. Well, yeah, that is one way you can see it, until you realize that these same developers we're talking about were begging the higher-ups at Bungie to make positive changes for player happiness, and Bungie did not give a flying fuck. The only thing they cared about was and has been making as much money from players as possible. Now, if I can find the screenshot, I'll put it up on the screen, but somebody on Twitter did an analysis of how much it would cost to buy every single DLC for this game, and even with, I think it was a 50 or 60% discount, it was around $200. Now, when you picture that, on top of, the things like dungeon keys, cosmetics, if you ever want to buy those, because, listen boys, if you want your character to even look like he's not a bum, the good armor sets are all in Eververse. You can't earn pretty much any of the good ones throughout the game, with the exception of maybe raids and whatnot, but like the ritual armor, we'll get the same set for Gambit, one for green, one in green, with the same set for Crucible, but in red, and then the same set for Vanguard, but in blue and orange. Like, that is the laziest shit I've ever seen. But then you look at Eververse, and they got some Assassin's Creed armor, God of War, Star Wars. It's like, bro, what is going on? We can't get any of this for playing the game? I already spent $400 on all the DLCs, and you mean to tell me that I can't earn jack shit? And as much as I really wish that that was the worst of the situation, there were actually more reasons why these people were laid off, basically fired when they were. So the information that came out was that many of the employee benefits, not health insurance, of course, but only last until the end of the month if they're let go. So laying people off on the 30th means a single additional day of coverage. All these employees were laid off on, I believe, October 29th, meaning they would have 2 more days of coverage for those benefits and then they would lose them. And then many employees also had unvested shares as a result of the Sony purchase, but those shares would be received based on staying with the company for a certain number of years following the sale. Those shares, unfortunately, revert to Bungie if you leave or you're fired, let go, whatever it may be. So those employees lost their benefits, they lost those shares, they lost a lot of it. And like I said, the saddest part is it wasn't even their fault. It was horrible management coming from Bungie and just sheer greed. And what's arguably just as bad is the way Bungie went about letting go of these employees was genuinely awful. So an employee shared this story with Zavaler on Twitter, and then she had permission to, tweet it out and share it with the rest of the community. And she basically said, "This morning, my off day, I woke up to a text telling me to make my way to the office for an important meeting. When I got there, the news had already been broken. It was a nightmare. People were crying at their desks, packing stuff up, and I checked my email and got the unfortunate news. I wasn't even told in person. By the time I left my badge and everything, it had already been deactivated. I don't know what I'm going to do at all." So basically, Bungie did not even have the decency to tell these people in person when it was literally Bungie's fault that they lost their jobs because they didn't listen to their developers at all. And those developers also had zero notice that they were going to be let go, so they had no time to find new jobs, fill out applications, do any of that. They were basically just cut off and told, fuck you by Bungie. And then Bungie also went ahead to make another tweet saying, oh, we'd recommend, these people to any company out there. It's like, no the fuck you wouldn't. You would have had their respect and actually given them notice of what was going on if that was the case. They literally just made that tweet to cover their ass and try to make themselves look better, but luckily, nobody in the community bought into that shit. And really what this situation has done more than anything is create a severe lack of trust between the player and Bungie, and we're seeing that right now. People are already mass refunding their, I was about to say Lightfall, but Final Shape pre-orders might as well be Lightfall 2.0 because we know that shit's not going to be good because Bungie keeps putting out half-baked DLCs and they expect us to pay $70. And if you're like me, you never had that thing pre-ordered to begin with, and now there is absolutely no reason to do so because you see what's going on and you see what company you would be supporting if you did something like that. Now, I'm not saying Bungie can't turn this around. There's always, opportunities for second chances. And who knows, maybe they blow us away by saying, hey, we made a mistake. We're going to offer those people their jobs back. We're going to do the right thing. And they're going to do all this and that and, take the right steps. But I highly doubt that that's going to happen. And I wouldn't be getting your hopes up for it. Now, that is pretty much everything I have to say about this situation, but I will add a little bit more onto this video just because I know there are people who watch my videos who are going to be thinking, well, Grav, with Destiny 2 being in the current state that it's in, what are you going to do? What are you going to upload? And honestly, boys, I really don't know because the passion right now for Destiny, it's not there for me. And I was hopeful for a little bit because we were getting some decent changes and then this bombshell dropped and it's back to square one, and that keeps happening over and over again, and it gets really, really exhausting as a content creator, and even just as a player, man. Like, you guys don't understand this, but I don't play Destiny 2 outside of recording pretty much ever anymore. It's just not enjoyable for me at all. And in terms of what else I might do on the channel, I really don't know. We're just going to experiment with some things, maybe try out some Fortnite for next season because the OG stuff is coming back. But I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to try to be myself, have the personality and everything. But just expect less Destiny 2 content going forward. And eventually, if things don't get better, expect pretty much no more Destiny content on this channel. Because I am not going to support a company who does that shit to their employees and their players. It's just scummy. And if they don't do something to turn it around, they're never going to gain my trust back, and they really shouldn't get your trust either. Anyways, though, that is pretty much going to be everything that I have for today's video. If you guys did end up enjoying it, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like and a comment letting me know what you thought. If you are new around here, it never hurts to hit that subscribe button. Anyways, it's been Gravely. Peace.